Right, I'm here with my good friend, Mr. Richard Ward here, and we are here for the unboxing, or I should say unpackaging, of my new book. Well, when I say new book, I should say the brand new revised edition of my book, Beneath the Pyramids, which originally came out in 2009. This was the original version here, and it was basically my account of our discovery of Giza's cave Underworld the previous year in 2008. This was a 5-year research project looking at all evidence of everything that existed beneath the plateau at Giza, and then myself, Nigel Skinner-Simpson, my ex-wife Sue Collins, and myself finding those caves and entering them and recording them for the first time in modern times, basically. And that's all in that book. But that book has long been out of print. But as you can imagine, with all these latest discoveries and claims and interest in what lies beneath the plateau at Giza again, it felt right to bring out that book completely revised with all new material, new ideas. And so I shall be looking at it now for the very first time. So let's see what we've got. Okay. Here we go. Right, let's put that away. Beneath the Pyramids, which, by the way, is already #1 on Amazon in the ancient Egyptian history section. So thanks to everybody that's already bought it. Obviously, I've got my first copy here. Yeah, I mean, you know, a beautiful cover by Louise Herbert, and you know, the work was done by my good friends Greg Little and Stan, you know, who've worked on behalf of the publisher, who is Fourth Dimension Press, which is an imprint of the Casey ARE Press, and it looks good. But what do you think, Richard?
Yes, it certainly does, Andrew. And as you said, you know, it's now 16 years since the original Beneath the Pyramids came out, which was a groundbreaking book for the reasons you said about the discovery of the Tomb of the Birds and what is now popularly known as Collins Cave. So can you tell us a little bit about the additional material that's now gone into the new version?
Okay, right. Well, there are 13,500 new words, and that's on top of what was already in there. And this forms 4 new chapters with 15 new illustrations, some of which are actually in colour. So what have we put in there? Well, quite clearly, we all know about the Italian discoveries, the Khafre SAR project, and their announcements back in March of the detection of these huge underground structures beneath the second pyramid. Now they've gone on to find, you know, similar structures and features in other parts of the plateau beneath the other pyramids and the Sphinx and whatever. But I wanted to concentrate on what their claims to do with the second pyramid, because that's where I've been focusing my attention for many years, because all the indications are that the caves that we discovered continue on to the second pyramid. This is brought out in the book, but also as early as 1977, the Stanford Research Institute detected huge underground voids beneath the second pyramid, you know, exactly where the Italian team are saying that they also have found or detected these structures beneath that very same pyramid. That pyramid is the highest point on the plateau. It's the furthest point away from the underground water table, which is about 50 to 60 meters below that point. So if you wanted to build something, you know, underground, that's the perfect place to do it. And in all honesty, not down by the Sphinx, for the simple reason that the water table is only about 3 meters underneath the Sphinx enclosure. So, you know, everything seems to point towards the second pyramid being important. And what we know is that the ancient Egyptians, they themselves would seem to have realised that there was something underneath that plateau. You know, what I talk about in this book is the fact that Khufu himself was trying to find what he described as the number of the secret chambers of the sanctuary of Thoth in order that he could build his horizon. Now, this is a word in ancient Egyptian which is Arkhet, and this was the name of his pyramid field, Arkhet Khufu. So in other words, he needed this knowledge to actually find the dimensions, if you like, for the Great Pyramid. Presumably the geometry, mathematics, etc. And in the knowledge that the second pyramid was also seen as the tomb of Hermes Trismegistus, which was like the hermetic form of the Egyptian god Thoth, who was the god of mathematics, of geometry, the keeper of the hidden records. Then I suspect that this sanctuary of Thoth was to be found beneath the second pyramid, and that it was this that Khufu, and almost certainly his son Khafre, who is the supposed builder of the second pyramid, were after. And what was that knowledge? That's what I try and show in this book, the new revised edition. I mean, this is brand new stuff, really. And so there's so much. I mean, the other important thing is, would the ancient Egyptians, or I should say, the people that might have constructed these underground, monuments, underground structures, the underground chambers, I mean, not only do we not know who they are, but on top of this, what we need to know is, could they have actually built these type of structures? Well, what I show is that there's ample evidence among the Tash Tepe culture of southeastern Turkey, who give us monuments like Göbekli Tepe and Karahan Tepe, that they were building deep underground structures. Plus you've got the underground cities at places like Delenkuyu in Cappadocia in Turkey, which I showed in one of my earliest books, From the Ashes of Angels, came out in 1996, that there's ample evidence to suggest that the earliest phases of construction there was around 11,000 BC. So if all of this was going on in Turkey, and we also know that there were connections between Tash Tepe and Egypt, in particular a place called Helwan, which is within sight of the Giza Plateau, during this same period, that why not similar structures being constructed in Egypt, in particular at Giza? But even then, it's just the tip of the iceberg, because then we have these ancient foundation texts like those at Edfu in southern Egypt, so-called Edfu building texts that tell us about Zep Tepi, the age of the gods, and the construction of the first enclosures and temples in Egypt, and how underneath them there was some kind of chamber or something called the Underworld of the Soul. And all the indications is that was in the vicinity of Giza. But there's far more, the mysteries of the Ogdoad, the Eight, in the creation myths from Hermopolis, which was the cult centre of Thoth. There's just so much, and that's the new stuff. The old stuff is everything that we ever knew about what lies beneath the plateau at Giza. Going from ancient Egyptian times, the fact that the Giza plateau itself was known as Rostau in the past, which means the mouth of the passages, or the entrance into the underworld. That alone suggests that this was something that would have been known to the builders of the three great pyramids at Egypt. So anyway, you've got it all there. I'm looking at this now. The other important thing is that they've printed this in colour. So the new illustrations are in colour, and obviously you've got the plates from the old book, which obviously clearly are in colour. So that's it really. So anyway, get your copy now. It's obviously available on Amazon. As I said, it's already #1. Yeah, I mean, you know, this I think is going to be your Bible. If you really want to know what's going on in Egypt, you need this. And also, next February 2026, myself and my good friend and colleague Debbie Cartwright, who is one of the most visionary people that I know on this planet, will be going to Egypt to follow up on everything that's in here, to try and take it onto a new level. And the reason why is that it's okay coming out with ideas and theories relating to you know, the idea that there's something underneath that plateau, and we can even speculate on what it was, or is I should say, and how the ancient Egyptians may have related to it. But the bigger question is, why is all this coming out now? What's truly going on? I mean, we can't go to the plateau and just, you know, drill down and find out what's there. It's just not going to happen. So the question is, why is this all happening now in 2025 going forward? You know, is there something afoot? Is there something bigger going on that we need to know about? And that's what we will try and find out next February when we go out to Egypt. So if you want to come on this quest with us, you know, I'll give you the details in the description below. You know, or check out megalithomania.co.uk, because we're doing it in association with Megalithomania, this tour. So anyway, that's it. I mean, I better not carry on, as we could go on for hours. So with that, I'll say thank you, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.